Yo guys, and welcome back to a brand new video, and in today's video we are going to be discussing what would happen if Andrew's Spider-Man was in the MCU, part 3. Now I've made two other parts to discuss how Andrew would have been brought into the MCU, discussing his connection through the Civil War storyline, and the second part was about how the Amazing Spider-Man 3 would play out inside of the MCU. Well, today we will be discussing Andrew being in Infinity War and Endgame, and then obviously setting up what the Sinister Six movie would look like inside the MCU. That being said, let's get straight into it. Infinity War begins and plays out relatively the same. Now, Andrew in Infinity War through to Endgame won't have any real character development, but will have this event tying to setting up his arc for the Sinister Six movie. But we'll still have some character development here and there, just not as much as he would in his solo movies, as these are event films. In Infinity War, the movie will almost play out the exact same. You could almost take Tom out and place Andrew in there. So at the start of the movie, Thanos will take down Thor, Loki, and the Hulk, and then Heimdall will send the Hulk to Earth, where he informs Doctor Strange and Wong about the situation. Ebony Maw arrives to Earth and Tony Stark is on the scene. Peter gets a small scene with MJ similar to the Tony and Pepper scene. Peter is explaining him as Spider-Man and everything that happened with Gwen, and explains that he can't have it happen again. He must learn from his mistakes and never make that one again. He explains to MJ that it's always the people before himself, which is his #1 policy. After everything that has happened to this Spider-Man, if saving someone else's life is how he dies, then he's fulfilled his destiny and took responsibility. Then a ship comes down and Peter swings off as MJ watches him confront Thanos' children. He arrives and interacts with Doctor Strange and Tony Stark. The movie plays out the exact same from here, except Tony is a little bit more for Peter to come help them this time, as he isn't as young as Tom Holland was. The whole "you're an Avenger now" scene doesn't actually happen, as Tony already kind of sees the Spider-Man as an Avenger. He was a crucial part in the Civil War storyline for both sides. He's been around for longer, he fought Elektra and the Lizard, and the list goes on. He's more experienced. This Spider-Man is way more experienced than Tom's was, even though he has still a lot to learn. The movie goes on and Cap's side of the story happens as normal, as so does Tony's, and then we get to the Titan battle. Thanos arrives and they all try and take him down. Now this part just plays out the exact same. Thanos wins and takes the Time Stone from Strange, and everyone is left in shock. You could literally just put Andrew in for Tom in this scene. Thanos goes to Wakanda, kills Vision, and takes the Mind Stone and snaps his fingers. So people start being snapped away. Peter Quill dies, Drax dies, Mantis dies, Strange dies, but Peter Parker does not. Peter lives, and this instantly dwells a lot on Peter. Now this is the main difference between this Infinity War and the one with Tom Holland in it. So this one, Peter will dwell on the fact that he isn't dead, and trust me, this is good for his character. I'm not just adding this in here because I don't want Spider-Man to not die. In this scenario, he would be sacrificing himself for half of the entire universe, and he failed. Not only did he fail to stop Thanos with the rest of Avengers, but he didn't make the sacrifice play. He let it happen. A villain got the best of him again. And now, this is cyclical, because at the start of the movie, he was telling MJ how he wanted to make the sacrifice play. He wanted to sacrifice himself before anyone else. And he didn't get to do that. He didn't get to fulfill that destiny. He didn't get to fulfill that responsibility. And this will dwell on Peter's character, which leads us straight into Endgame, which consists of the core Avengers, Captain Marvel, Rocket, Rhodey, and Spider-Man. Throughout this film, Spider-Man will be angry. He's mad that he let it happen again. Rage flows through him. So Tony, Peter, and Nebula will be stuck inside the Guardian ship, and this will be a real bonding session for Peter and Tony. They'll really get to know each other here, as well as Nebula. Captain Marvel will save them, and they all come back to Earth. Tony reunites with Pepper, but here, Peter reunites with no one. MJ isn't there. Peter breaks down. He just cries. MJ had been snapped away by Thanos. He's distraught, sad, lonely, the kid from Queens that can't catch a break. First Gwen, then half the universe, and now MJ, the girl he promised he wouldn't let down like he did with Gwen. Just when it started to become really good for Peter and looked like MJ might have been the one, no. Then the movie plays out relatively the same, with Tony and Cap arguing and them having to devise a plan to go and kill Thanos. However, Peter isn't there like Tony wasn't originally. Peter wouldn't want to go and kill Thanos anyway, as he'd disagree. Despite how angry, upset, and frustrated he is and how much he hates Thanos, Peter's ideals still lie. He wouldn't want Thanos to die. The Avengers kill Thanos anyway and return with no stones. 5 years later, however, Scott Lang returns from the quantum realm, and there is hope. The Avengers meet up with Tony and tell him the news, and Tony doesn't want to as he's happy now with his new family. He has a kid, Morgan. Then the Avengers discover time travel and it's all said and done. They're going to go get the stones and snap everyone back using the quantum realm. The Avengers say they're going to need all the help they can get. We cut to Peter, who is with Aunt May. You see, if Peter lost absolutely everything, he would just be the same character as Thor in this movie, so Peter will actually still have Aunt May around, and he will be feeling a little better than he did before. He hasn't had the need to be Spider-Man for a while though. We see Peter has a beard and looks slightly rough, but he's happier than he was at the start of all this. But it's surface level happiness. Peter still feels wronged and dread deep down inside that he lost half the universe, that he lost MJ. We have a scene where Steve pulls up at Peter's house, and the first time that Steve has seen Peter since the grave scene in Civil War, so these two characters really do connect with each other when they do see each other. And he simply says, "Hey kid." They have a chat about everything that has happened and that the Avengers need Spider-Man's help one last time. Peter says that he hasn't worn the mask since the incident. Steve says it's up to him, but half the universe depends on them and their friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter reluctantly agrees and it's time. They all have their quantum suit get-ups and all ready. Peter would go with Tony and Cap and Hulk to try and get the Space Stone back, and the movie would play out the exact same, except something will travel back on Rhodey's shoe once they come back from Morag. It'll be in the background, nothing significant, but it'll be a black goo and will hide out in the Avengers base. Anyway, back to the main story. They will successfully get all the stones back and Hulk will snap everyone back into existence. We'll have the epic scene where everyone comes back in the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Wakanda, Asgard, and the new Andrew Garfield Spider-Man in the MCU all stand together as they battle Thanos and his army. They come out on top obviously, and just before the end of the movie when everyone is back to normal and everyone is getting their top off scenes, Peter gets one scene where he sees MJ and just breaks down in her arms. Now here is the thing you may be wondering, wouldn't Peter be 5 years older than her? Well, MJ is actually 2 years older than Peter, so that would only make Peter 3 years older than MJ now. So just before you guys tell me off, there's your answer. Anyway, this scene would pay off for the last two movies where all these characters have been in distraught. But Peter still has that pent-up rage and anger within him just because of what Thanos did. We have the funeral scene for Tony Stark, and instead of having a scene where Tom Holland was in school when everyone goes back to their normal lives, we have a scene with Andrew's Peter and MJ driving off in a car together into the sunset, but with that mysterious black goo on the back of the number plate, meaning that this character's journey is certainly not over just yet. So guys, that was part 3 in What If Andrew's Spider-Man joined the MCU, and this part was definitely longer than I anticipated, so the Sinister Six will be in the next part and the last part. I thought it was going to be in this one, but no. So in part 4 I will explain the story in the Sinister Six, and part 4 will be the last part in the Andrew MCU series. Hopefully you will enjoy this part in the series, and I'll be releasing the next one sometime next week or so. Also, I have a question for you guys. If you would like to see more fanfictions or video essays, because right now they're tied up on the amount of support each one is getting and going into the future, and I'll be going to university soon this year, so I won't be able to put out daily content like I will be doing in the summer. So, just like to know which one you guys would prefer to see, so I can sway more one way when it comes to the time, and I know which one to prioritize. However, I won't stop doing either of them, none of them will go away. With that being said, thank you guys for watching this video, make sure to hit the like. If you enjoyed, comment down below what you thought, and also obviously more video ideas for me to do in the future. Follow my Instagram and Twitter in the description below for daily updates, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.